Well, hello. I have been working on getting my DRO done. Got a couple of first pieces made. And this is what the finished piece will look like. Looking for perfection on these because I want to set them up by using a clamp on the top of the mill table. Run this up against it and hit the adjusting screw right here to set the height. I ran into some problems with my mill. I noticed it when I started milling the blocks down for this. And what I'm noticing is the mill is not really trimmed. This be the table. This is the work block. And this is the column. My column this way is trimmed great. It's this way that's giving me the problem. And so consequently all my pieces get a taper to them, or they wind up as a pantograph. And where it shows is when I go to put something in the vise and I have my parallel set and I got it down on the parallel, both ends, and as soon as I tighten the vise, one end gets loose. Doesn't matter if I tap it down or anything, because I've squared up the ends with a mill that's not square. So I got that problem to work out, and I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a column brace for the back of it and put in a tram adjustment front to back. And well, some people say to fill the column up with an epoxy to prevent the big bolt on the back from squeezing it. And they say it causes a distortion. What I'm going to do is put a piece of aluminum in the back around the bolt. I'm going to drill the aluminum round down the center and make it about 1/1000th large and drive it in. And that should handle it. The epoxy is kind of expensive. The epoxy the one guy suggested that's not going to break and not going to distort. If my way with a aluminum donut doesn't work, then I will entertain the idea of spending $75 on epoxy. But what comes out, and it drove me nuts. I was out with a micrometer. Now, if I was just doing with this and didn't really care about accuracy as much, and 2,000 plus or minus is good, I wouldn't have been upset. But I'm looking at doing these, and I want them nice. Other things that's happened, I bought 4 of those. This is an LED array because the lighting on my mill table is not conducive to photography. So I have a few of the old boxes left over from prototyping on the tachometers, and I made a fixture with a magnetic base and the fake Noga arm to hold them. You can't beat the price, and they give out a lot of light. And I have a 20 amp linear power supply, and it still runs for another 10 seconds after I turn it off. But that's good for that. So I'm going to be finally getting some better photography and not trying to take care of lighting in post-production. And I acquired this. And it's an 80 mil face mill. I'm not going to tell you where I got it because I'm not like the Banggood salesman on the other channel. I'm just going to tell you that I acquired it from eBay and not tell you who. You can look these up if you want. I'm happy with the work. This is the finish that it turned out. Not too shabby on a mini mill with an 80 mil shell mill. Not bad. A caveat: I'm not running belts and I'm not running plastic gears. I'm running steel gears in mine. Yeah, it clatters, it's loud, and it's noisy. But I know it's not going to break. The only thing that might happen is if I take too big a bite, the motor may get warm. But if you make just nice finishing passes, which is what a shell mill is for, it hasn't been a problem. And I have run it quite a bit. Other things, not much else. I'm trying to get back on track, turning out tacks. I've been sick. I spent a month in the hospital. I've been back for approximately 3 weeks now outside. I'm still being monitored for blood work. I was majorly screwed up when I went in. I had a gallbladder caused chaos. And I'm just going to say that it did damage me in a few other ways. And I'm not real happy about it, but I'm trying to get back in. I got some minor infection that I got from the doctor's office last week. That was week 4 last. And it's making me a bit hoarse. But I'm trying to mend and doing the best I can, all things considered. It hasn't been easy. Anything else I got going on around here right now? Not a whole lot. Oh. I'm upgrading the tachometers again. I had the single split ring, and while it was nice, I'm finding that the double split is nice if you have to take it off and you don't want to take off your tooling. So all the new magnets are going on these for the pickup. And these work out real nice. I like them. I'm going to be using one on my own setup because I'm often taking off the tack or putting on something else. And this is the way to go. You just loosen it up, or if you don't want to take off work you have in, you take the whole thing off. In fact, along that line, I was working on this for centering, and it has the single piece, no cut, just set screws, and it's nice for centering real quick if you have one of these and not one of those. But it's good if the piece is larger than what your coaxial indicator likes. It works on larger pieces. Oops. Oh. Other than that, there's not been a whole heck of a lot going on. Been working on the bench, cleaning the bench, mostly cleaning up in here a little bit. My wife cleaned the garage, and everything she couldn't identify ended up right here. I just found the desktop today. I'll be straightening up my wire rack. As you see, it's up there, all the wires hanging down. I made a couple of clamps. Where is that doggone thing? Originally, I was going to use hex bolts, so I drilled kind of close to the end so I can get as much as I could up here with the scrap I had on hand that was already pretty short, and then discovered that I didn't have any hex bolts on hand, but I had cap screws, so I had to move one end in 1/8. But they're pretty nice in the fact that I have bookends up here. Let me take the magnet off here. If you look, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it holds the spools off the wall, and it makes it a little easier to pull a little wire down without having to play tug-of-war with it. So I got to put this on the other end so that I get the table away from the corner wall. Right now I got it on one end, and I tell you, it is much nicer than having to pull it with two hands and hear it grind on the texturing on the wall. Other things, I got hardware getting ready to put the motor on my lathe. I got the pieces for the temporary motor mountings, and once I get that set up, I can turn the intermediate shaft that goes where the old motor used to be. I have the Harbor Freight 8x12, you see pictures of it, and it's been slow going. I acquired a motor, a 1-horse motor, a VFD, and getting ready. I acquired a piece of shafting for it. I need to set up some pillow blocks, some mounting for the pillow blocks, but I need to set up the motor temporarily to turn the intermediate shaft, because without that intermediate shaft I can't do what I want to do with it, which is retain all the factory feeds on it and all the factory pulley settings and whatnot, and still have a little bit of variability with it. Eventually I want to CNC that lathe and still keep its manual usage, and I don't want to have it just CNC only, and everything I want to make I have to sit there and write and draft and write a program for. Sometimes you just need a quick long screw or something, and you don't want to go through all that. So that's why I'm always hesitant to make something CNC only like a lot of people do, because one time you're not gonna want to just do one piece and generate all the G code and work out all the bugs. It's not worth it. It's nice if you're making a lot of one thing, and or you're making one thing and you're prone to errors and trying to work it out. But it is what it is. I'm happy to be back home. That's for doggone sure. My gut's still bothering me. I'm on painkillers and antibiotics, waiting for surgery, and because of all the COVID-19 nonsense going on, I was supposed to be going to surgery next week, and they haven't even called me yet. They said, we'll have you back in here in 4 weeks. Next week is the 4th week, and I haven't heard anything from the surgeon, the hospital, or nothing, and my doctor's talking with them. So all I want to do is get straightened out so I can lay down some of these drugs and get back to a normal life. I can't think of anything else I got going on other than trying to finish out these, and I got to get a little ahead on the tachometers before I can take the table off the mill. But it's getting done slowly. I'm not feeling, like I said, I'm not feeling top shelf. Haven't for a while, and when I went in the hospital I was damn near dead. And then I had an infection that just wouldn't go away, and finally they managed to get that under control. And that was the whole deal with the infection, and it was also necrotizing. So I was in a bad way, and I'm still in a bad way. But the worst part of it, I think, is over. All I got to do is get in, get under the knife, get it done, and get out. And I should be okay for a few more years. Welcome to old age. It's not for sissies. And with that, I bid you adieu until probably a few more days when I get a little bit more work on this done, because I'm anxious to get this puppy on there. It would make such short work of a lot of the stuff that I do manually. Every tack I cut is done manually. And there's no CNC here. Everything is handcrafted with loving care. So if you got something from me, you got something a little bit more special than if you got it from somebody else, because, well, the parts of my stuff are made in China. It's all assembled here in the U.S. with as much American labor as we can find. I'd source everything in the U.S. if I could find it. We don't make anything. And that's truly sad. When I measured this block and found out that I was 2/1000ths off from one end to the other, and told my son about it, he says, "You got small problems." I said, "No, it's a big problem to me."
If you bought it from me, we stand behind it.